Hello everyone, myself Sanat Kumar Swai, Assistant Professor at Vedang Technology, Bhubaneswar. Hope you are all doing fine. In today's class, we'll be discussing about the marketing channels, its conflict and resolutions. Okay. In previous class, we have discussed about the marketing channels. Okay. What are the marketing channels and why it is important to understand those marketing channels. So in today's class, we will be concentrating on the and discussing on the conflicts. Okay, definitely in the various marketing channels there are conflict, and if there is any conflict, how and what is the best way to resolve. Okay, and its resolution. Okay, so marketing channels, conflicts and resolutions. Okay, so we'll be going through few slides and we'll try to find out what are the conflicts, how does a conflict arises in the marketing channel, and in case of any kind of conflict, how to better resolve. Okay, its resolutions particularly. Okay, so you see the marketing landscape, sorry, business landscape in any kind of society, be it India or be it any kind of other um, society, you will see that it is very dynamic. Okay, why it is dynamic? It was not dynamic in a couple of years back, but right now, if you find that the marketing scenario has changed completely, the market has changed completely. Okay, why? Because people are moving from one place to another. Okay, their choice have changed, their interests have changed. Okay, there is a huge migration from one place to another. Okay, so based on their choice, based on their interest, based on the migration, based on the people movement from one place to another, it is a dynamic landscape. It's not a stagnant landscape, rather it's a dynamic landscape. Okay, so to understand those dynamic landscape and how to better cater to that landscape, dynamic landscape, understanding of the marketing channel is very important. Okay, and in the previous class we have already discussed about the marketing channels. Okay, why it is important. Okay, now when there is a when we are trying to understand the marketing channels, okay, there are various intermediaries in the marketing channels. Okay, so what are the intermediaries in the marketing channels? They are like wholesaler. Okay, one second. They are the wholesaler. Okay, there are retailers and distributors. So it's like a supply chain. The product, when it is manufactured in it is, and it goes through a supply chain to the end customers. Okay, and these people, they are the intermediaries. Okay, so what happens that sometimes conflict arise. Okay, why do conflict arise? There are multiple ways, multiple reasons we'll be discussing in other slides. That, but to understand that, definitely there is a conflict. Conflict happens, conflict arises. And when there is a conflict, what happens? That it disrupts the operation and impact relationship. The operational procedure gets disrupted and the relationship also gets impacted in case of the conflict. Now, when there is a conflict, definitely we have to resolve that conflict as well. There has to be certain resolution to resolve that conflict. So what are that? So we have to understand what are the conflict first. Why do the conflict happens first? Okay. Next. So you see the marketing channels. Okay. When there is a conflict, okay, why? What happens normally? That there is a disagreement. Normally, what happens when we are having a conflict with anybody? Why do we have a conflict? Because there is some sort of disagreement. If there is agreement, if everybody agrees to a common term, then there is no conflict. But if one or two person they disagree, there is a disagreement, then the conflict starts. Okay. So what happens that if there is a disagreement or competing goals, like everybody are competing for some of the other goals, particularly in the marketing segment. Okay, so what happens that if there is disagreement or the competing goal, then the conflict arises. Okay, so these lead to inefficiencies and reduce effectiveness in the reaching the market. See, what happens in the marketing channel is none of the customers' business, the end customers' business. The only thing they look upon is that they want to get a better product for a better price, okay, at the right time, at a specific time. They're least bothered about what kind of disagreements or what kind of conflicts are happening in the marketing channel or in the intermediaries. Okay, so if you're looking at the Indian context, Indian market scenario, what happens as because Indian market is a diverse market, okay, and it is rapidly economic growth, there is a rapid economic growth. Okay, so understanding these kinds of market is extremely important, okay, while to resolve the conflict if there is any. Okay, so these are the classifications of conflicts. Okay, what are the classification of conflict? So first one is vertical conflict, second horizontal, intertype, and multi-channel conflict. Okay, so basically there are four types of conflict in the marketing channels: vertical conflict, horizontal conflict, intertype conflict, and the multi-channel conflict. Now, horizontal conflict. What do you mean by horizontal conflict? In case of horizontal conflict, what happens is that the intermediaries, who are the intermediaries? The manufacturer and the end customer. So in between the supply chain who are means giving sending out that product, okay, to the end customers, those are known as intermediaries. Okay, they may be the wholesaler, they may be retailers or XYZ, whoever. So those all the people are known as intermediaries. Okay, so these occurs between intermediaries at the same level in the channel. Okay, so because they all are in the, if that is the same channel, okay, wholesale, for example, wholesale is a marketing channel. Okay, so in marketing channel, the intermediaries, if they are if there is a problem, if there is a conflict in that particular channel, in one channel, then that is known as horizontal conflict. Okay, for example, two retailers may compete aggressively for the same customer base, leading to pricing war. So there are two retailers, okay, and they are competing for the customer base. Okay, for example, somebody is offering maybe 10,000 for the same product, and the other retailer is offering maybe 8,000 for the same product. So there is a gap of rupees 2,000, right? So that creates to pricing war, and that is known as horizontal conflict. There is a pricing war between the two retailers. Okay. Next is vertical conflict. So what do you mean by vertical conflict? Vertical conflict is like this takes place between different levels of the same channel. In this case, what happens? It is a like same person, okay, same level, and this one is like different levels but of the same channels, like manufacturer and retailer. You see, in case of horizontal, it is about manufacturer or retailer, but in case of vertical conflict, it is between a different levels. Manufacturer is a different level, retailer is a different level. So between the manufacturer and retailer, or maybe other, maybe retailer or a wholesaler, you can say. Okay, so what happens in this case, that it is an example. Let's see an example when the manufacturer bypasses the distributor and sell directly to customers. Okay, so let's say like this, we'll see, this is the manufacturer, okay, and it is selling the price directly to the customers or consumer. Okay, so there is distributor in between. Okay, so it should go, ideally it should go from manufacturer to distributor and from distributor to consumer. But when the manufacturer, they try to bypass the distributor and sell the product to directly to the customers, then there is a vertical conflict. Okay, so this is known as the vertical conflict. Next, intertype conflict. So what do you mean by intertype conflicts? So intertype conflict is also in channel conflict arise by different types of marketing. See, in those two, vertical and horizontal, we were talking about the same marketing channels. If something happens, a conflict arises in the same marketing channel. But in case of inter-type conflict, there is a different types. Okay, different types of conflict marketing channels, such as online and offline channel. Okay, online means physical store. Sorry, online means like e-commerce, and offline means the physical retail store. So they normally compete against each other. So what happens in that case, you will see there is price discrepancies occur, customer service inconsistency, and brand dilution. Okay, the brand get diluted. But in this case also you will see, in case of the conflict, the customers, they get they are the they get a better deal. Okay, they are the winner. Okay, in case of these kinds of conflict normally. Okay, because they get a fair deal. Maybe the online retailers, they will try to woo the customers. Okay, or the offline channels, they will try to woo the customers, so they will try to give you a lot of discounts on their product. So ultimately there's a big win for the consumers. Okay, next is multi-channel conflicts. So multi-channel conflict is multi-channels. Okay, it's not confined to a particular channel or to two channels, it may be a multiple channel. Okay, so in this case what happens, when a company uses this multiple channels to reach the same market. Okay, so for example, this is a one product. Okay, so it is using different ways. Okay, different ways, maybe wholesale. Okay, maybe some other ways. Okay, so there are different channels. Is not using the single channel to reach the market, but it is using the multiple channel. Okay, so in that case what happens, leading to competition among those channels. So there is a competition on those channels, that who are going to reach to that same place, or they are going to reach to that market in a more effective ways. Okay, for example, let's say a brand selling, there is a brand which is selling through both online and brick and mortar stores, may face conflict if pricing or service levels vary. Definitely, if there is a physical store, okay, or retailer we can say, and there is an online retailer. Now when they are delivering a product, what is their pricing strategy? Okay, what kind of product they are offering? Okay, so there is a conflict between the physical and the online retailers. Okay, now why these kinds of marketing channel conflicts arises? What are the basic causes? Okay, the first cause is objectives. What kind of objective the marketing channels offer, or they have different goals, they have got different aims and objectives. Okay, so what are their sales target? Maybe some channel may have a different sales target. Okay, or a different market share. So the first one is different objectives. So when the objectives differ, then that creates channel conflict. Next is resource allocation. Okay, resource allocations means not all the resources are being allocated to a particular channel, okay, the marketing channel. Rather, various kinds of resources like promotional resource, okay, advertisement, okay, or sales space. So based on that, there is a conflict. The conflict arises. Okay. Next is pricing discrepancies. Pricing discrepancies means what are the price you are going to, what are the price tag you are going to use to access the market. Okay, so that also create conflict. Some channel they may offer, they may put a higher pricing tag. Some marketing channel they may offer a lower pricing tag. So based on that, there's a discrepancy, pricing discrepancies, and based on that there's a channel conflict. Okay. Next is territorial dispute. Territorial dispute is who is going to become the boss of that particular territory. Okay, that has been age old dispute, okay, between kings, between you see in the animal kingdom also they have territorial disputes. So it's very common, okay, it's very common to have these kinds of dispute. Okay, so that overlaps, okay, that a single marketing channel, they may overlap with different marketing channels, okay, and there the territorial dispute starts. Okay, next is power imbalance. Power imbalance means, you see, all the marketing channels, they may not be that powerful. Okay, so in certain cases you will see that certain marketing channels, they have their own monopoly. Okay, so once they have their own monopoly, they try to exercise their monopoly and they will try to dominate the market. Okay, and they may dominate in which ways. They will try to dominate in the decision making. They'll try to put their own decisions and all the different channels they have to follow. Okay, so this creates resentment, okay, and conflict among the marketing channels. Okay, next, now comes the resolution strategies. So what are the resolution strategies? How we can better uh, uh, resolve those kinds of conflict, if any? So the first one is clear communication. You must have a clear communication. Okay, that is extremely important of any kind of conflict. Even if that is a personal conflict, I would say that there has to be a clear communication. Okay, in case of any kind of conflict, you see, when there is a clear communication, that opens various paths, that opens various ways, okay, to resolve those conflicts. Okay, for example, you see, if there is an Indian FMCG market company, okay, let's say Hindustan Unilever. So what happens that it ensures regular meetings and transparent communication with its distributors to align objectives and address issues promptly. So this is one of the examples that Hindustan Unilever, they promote regular meetings and transparent communications between their distributors, okay, and other marketing channel partners. Okay, why? So that the objectives, if can be aligned. Okay, there can be proper alignment of the objectives, and if there is any kind of issues, that can be addressed in a much better way. So this is one of the resolution strategy. Next is defined roles and responsibilities. Extremely important. Okay, if you don't know what is your roles and responsibilities, then definitely there will be overlapping. Okay, you may cross over to somebody else's roles and responsibilities. Okay, so definitely you are not going to trespassing, you can say. You should better stay in your own territory. Okay, so we have to clearly mention what is the roles and responsibilities of each channel partners. Okay, so that there is we can minimize or we can reduce the overlaps and various kinds of competitions. So in this case, example, Tata Motors delineates clear roles for its dealers and service centers to ensure seamless operations and minimize conflict. You see, Tata Motors, one of the leading vehicle company provider. So what they do, a manufacturer, they delineate, means they clearly demarcate the roles and responsibilities for their dealers and service centers, so that these kinds of operations seamless, to ensure the seamless operations. So when they are aware of their roles and responsibility, definitely that is going to minimize the conflict. Okay. Next is incentive alignment. What do you mean by incentive alignment? Incentive means, see, incentive means to provide something else. Okay, apart from their regular perks or something, you are going to give some other perks. Okay, so you see, the structuring incentives, okay, they are going to structure in better incentive, so that the channel partners benefit from achieving common goal, can foster cooperation. So there is a when they are achieving certain common goals, okay, then there is a incentive alignment has to be focused on. Okay, so that is going to foster cooperation among the channel partners. Okay, for example, if you see Maruti Suzuki, they offer performance based initiative to its dealer, encouraging them to work towards common sales target. Okay, so performance based, so any kind of incentive based if you are giving it, so that is going to create, or that is going to foster cooperation, okay, among the channel partners. Okay, next, conflict resolution mechanism. Okay, what are the conflict resolution mechanism? Conflict resolution mechanisms are like mediation. If there is any kind of mediation, we can mediate, okay, or any kinds of arbitration. Okay, so what happens in case of retail, Reliance Retail, they employ a conflict resolution dedicated to solving dispute between different channel partners swiftly and effectively. So they are having a particular resolution team, conflict resolution team, and they act as a mediator. They act as a mediator if there is any kind of conflict. Okay, so this is also one of the exceptional way of resolving the conflict. Next is training and development. Every now and then, the company owners, they should provide training and development to their channel partners. Okay, why? Because that is going to help the channel partners to understand, or how they need to perform their tasks in a better way, or what are the goals and aims and objectives of their, or what is required out of them. Okay, so in case of Godrej consumer products, they regularly conduct training sessions for their sales force and distributors to ensure alignment and reduce conflict. So there should be regular training sessions. There has to be regular developmental sessions. Okay, so that the friction or any kind of conflict, it reduces. We can minimize if there is any kind of conflict and friction. Okay. Now, if we are going to see a few examples in the Indian context, okay, so e-commerce versus traditional retail. What is e-commerce versus traditional retails? See, in India, you will see there is a significant rise of various e-commerce giants like Flipkart, Amazon, okay, various Snapdeals, okay. A lot of other e-commerce giants have come into play recently into the Indian market. Okay, so definitely once that comes into play, there will be friction between the traditional retail. Okay, because in India, the Indian market was used to traditional retail. Okay, the traditional brick and mortar retailers. Okay, now what happens that the traditional retailers, they often feel like that they are being undercut by the heavy discounting price. So definitely, see, the e-commerce giants, they will definitely give a huge discount, because the cost of operating their businesses is very less. So definitely they will give out a huge discount on the online platform. So that traditional retailers, they often feel that they are being left out, okay, or they are being cut out by these kinds of discounting practices. Okay. Next, companies like Samsung have tackled this by ensuring price parity across both online and offline channel to maintain fairness and so Samsung is one of the company who has tried to create a price parity. Means there is no difference between the prices, whether you are purchasing that from the online platform or they are purchasing it from the offline channel to a greater extent, so that to maintain there is a fairness and to reduce various kinds of conflict, if any. Okay. Direct to consumer models. Okay. Direct to consumer model, you see these days there are a lot of startups have come up into play, like Boat and Mamaearth. Okay, so they have also tried to undertake these kinds of direct to customer models. Okay, through the which they will try to bypass the traditional distributors. Okay, so these kinds of shift has created vertical conflict. Definitely there will be conflict because they are trying to bypass the distributors, okay, with the existing distributors and retailers. So there's a vertical conflict with the existing distributor and retailers. Okay, so these companies often mitigate conflict by offering exclusive products or variants through traditional channels while selling other lines directly to customer. So what they do to mitigate or to lessen the conflict, they are having two types of product. So certain exclusive products, okay, they try to sell those products through traditional channels. Okay, so if you want to purchase certain specific or certain exclusive product, then you have to purchase it through the traditional exclusive stores. They have got exclusive stores, so you can purchase it through the traditional channel. While if the other regular product, they are selling it through the online platforms. So through that, they are trying to mitigate the various kinds of conflicts. Okay, right. So in conclusion, if you see that these kinds of channel conflict is a inevitable part of any business landscape. Wherever you go, you will find these kinds of conflicts are there, marketing conflicts are there. So if these kinds of conflict, if you are going to manage it properly, then that is well and good. But if you are not going to manage it properly, or if that has been left out unmanaged, then that can significantly hinder a company's ability to serve the customer effectively. So at the end, what happens that the sufferer is the customer, okay, and subsequently the company. Once the customer suffers, then definitely the company is going to suffer in the long run. Okay. However, by understanding these kinds of the types and causes of these conflicts and implementing a strategic resolutions mechanism, we can try to lessen the conflict, the impact of the conflict, if we are going to face any. Okay. Next, clear communication, which we have already read in the previous slide. Okay, defined roles. Okay, there has to be certain defined roles, aligned incentive, formal conflict resolution process. So these are like how better way. Okay, if we are adopting this kind of strategy, how we can in a better way we will be able to minimize those conflicts in any kind of organizations. Okay, so these strategies has to be adopted. Okay, so if we are adopting this kind of strategies, then only we'll be able to maintain a proper channel relationship with our channel partners, and then only we'll be able to achieve the desired goals and objectives of our company. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of the slide. Okay, I believe we have covered all the slide in a much better way. However, if you have any doubt, you can put down your doubts in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to clear off your doubt. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.